Hola, bom dia, it's Ken here from OK Portugal and welcome to another episode of Portugal Farm Life. I'm joined here by Orlando and Bruno.
How you doing?
And
Hola, bom dia.
these guys are going to show us a very awesome farm today. We're just about to go down there now. In fact, it's right in front of us. We're in Alentejo, and in the background here you can see the Monsaraz castle. Now the reason why we're here is because we're at a very high vantage point. In the background over here is the Alqueva Dam. This is one of the largest dams in the world. It's actually the largest dam in Europe. And just over here in the distance, where that little white building is over there, that is on the actual farm where we're going to be going today. And that farm stretches all the way to the water's edge. All right, so we have walked down to where that white building is. In fact, this white building is actually an observatory. And this observatory is owned by Lionel. And Lionel is here with us. He's also one of the partners in Wagyu World with Orlando. And Wagyu World is a company that is bringing red Wagyu beef to Portugal.
Olá, sou Lionel Godinho, estou aqui na região de Monsaraz, onde se está a produzir a melhor carne do mundo. É uma região que já tem uma história muito grande, já foi invadida por romanos, gregos e tem uma grande história em termos de gastronomia. E com este adicional da melhor carne do mundo, que é o Akaushi, queremos criar aqui e começar aqui um projeto extremamente ambicioso de criar a melhor carne do mundo nas melhores pastagens, junto do maior lago artificial da Europa. Queremos assim juntar gastronomia à astronomia, que é realmente outro dos privilégios que temos aqui nesta região. Quero convidar toda a gente para que realmente visite, não deixe de conhecer esta região, que é uma região onde podemos aprender ciência, agricultura, história e, portanto, passar aqui bons momentos aprendendo e divertindo-nos. Muito obrigado.
Now the reason I brought you up here is because from this vantage point you can actually see the farm where all of the cows are. In the background here you can see the lake, and over here this is another very interesting thing to show you guys. This is an old wagon, and this is an old water container. Now this farm, back in the days, was being run by Lionel's grandfather. Lionel's grandfather didn't use any machinery, didn't use any tractors. He was using horses, he was using carts, and this is how he was getting, water and food and stuff to all of his animals. As you can imagine, they were breeding animals down here, and they were doing it in a very ecological and low impact way. And Lionel is actually continuing these traditions to this day. He's not using any equipment on this farm. He's actually uses a horse to get around, which I think is quite impressive. They're actually investing a lot of money into this farm to keep it, sort of ecological and low impact. Now, before we go down to the cattle, I just wanted to show you some cool things here by the observatory. So these guys have got a very special clock. I'm not sure exactly what you'd call it, if it's a meteorological clock or an astronomical clock. But as you can see, it's got this sort of figure of 8 shape. And it's got a whole bunch of different months. So you've got January, February, March, April, May, and those go around this shape, this figure of 8 shape. And the way that this clock works is you stand on the month where you are. So for instance, there is November, so Nov, and you stand on the line. So you put 1 foot on the one side of the line, 1 foot on the other side of the line, okay? And then you look ahead. And when you look ahead, you've got this pole. Now this is the pole that basically creates the shadow that dictates what time it is. Now if we look at my clock at the moment, the time is 12:52. Now the reason why the line isn't sort of on the 1 o'clock symbol at the moment is because we're in daylight savings. So you have to have an hour back basically, because we're in daylight savings. But normally in summertime, at this point, you would actually see the shadows coming out to the side. And that's how you can tell the time. All right, so Lionel's actually opened up the observatory for us to have a quick look. Now, I want to come back on a later date and actually do like a full episode on this, but let's have a little peek inside. Wow, okay, they've got some huge telescopes. Look at these. Yeah, I think this is going to make a great episode when we do a visit to this observatory at night time. So behind the front desk here, they've got this gigantic photograph, and this actually shows you what the sky looks like here. Now the reason they have an observatory here is because there's very little light pollution, as you can see in this photograph. And I imagine a place that's got very little light pollution is going to be really good as well for growing animals on those fields where there's very little light pollution. It's nice and peaceful, it's nice and quiet. And they are growing some of the world's top quality beef here, so you need the best conditions. Lionel was just telling me that these pictures on the wall here are photographs that are taken from their big telescope, where you can actually see different galaxies and nebulas and things like that. So they've got an incredibly powerful telescope that's actually mounted on the roof here in a dome. I definitely want to come back here on a night where we can see that in more detail. And from this balcony over here, I believe we can see some of the cows. And there they are. Now, I'm not sure if this camera is going to be picking them up, but they're just in the distance over there. So we're going to go in now, and we're going to have a look at, well, he's going to show me something interesting. Lionel's telling me that this used to be a hobby of his, astronomy, but now it's no longer a hobby. Okay. Oh, wow, okay. We're going to go up to the dome. This is pretty cool. I didn't expect to, I thought we were just going to be doing cows today, but now we're actually going to see the telescope dome. And from here, you get even more views. Wow, look at these. This is incredible. Wow, amazing. So this is even another level up with the cows just down there. So this is the dome that basically opens up and allows the telescope to look at the sky. And this dome can rotate, and obviously the telescope can look up and down. So we will definitely be back. But for now, I want to go down and have a look at the cow farm. Oh wait, before we do that, Lionel's going to show me the main telescope. All right. Oh, this is very, very cool. We're getting access all areas. Oh, wow, okay. All right, so we have one of these strange staircases going up into the cupola. I just got to pay attention to where my feet are with this camera. Oh, wow, okay. Oh, wow, okay, look at this. Okay.
Come in.
Yes. Okay, so this is the main telescope. Jeez, look at this.
It's a big telescope. It's the buscador. Isto é o que orienta o buscador.
It's to orient and find.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. It's the camera, the orientation.
Yeah.
It's the camera, photographic.
Yeah.
It's the Rolls Royce. It's very, very precise.
The Rolls Royce of, is this like the motorization to move it around? Okay.
Toda a estrutura está independente. Não sei como é que isto. It's an independent structure.
An independent structure, so there's no vibration.
Yeah, it's very, very important.
So when you're walking on here, you're making a vibration,
yes.
And that vibration, if you're looking millions of kilometers out into space, will mess up the image. So this is a column that goes into the ground completely independent from the rest of the building.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Look at this thing. Jeez.
It's very, very important, the montage.
So does this have a motor so it can actually move the orientation?
Yeah, it's the cupola.
It moves the cupola.
And the telescope
Yes, the rotation and the up
yes,
down.
And
okay.
The rotation of
Wow. Okay.
And
so
you command it from here or from down? Down. Yeah.
Okay.
A diferença é que este é todo comandado pelo computador e os outros é manuais.
Okay, it's all running by a computer.
Okay, so down in the bottom where we came from, a computer basically runs all of this, and there's cameras on here. So you don't actually sit up here and look through the lens or anything like that. And this is the Rolls Royce of kit. I'm sure there's going to be people watching who know exactly what all this stuff is. But to me, like, it looks very impressive. Wow. All right, so I'm going to go down the staircase now and probably put the camera away. All right, so it's 1:30, and we're actually on our way to lunch. And but don't worry, we are going to get down to the cows. But before we get there, these guys are just showing me something super interesting. Check this out. This is a megalithic stone circle, and I believe they call it a cromlech. And they were telling me some really cool stuff about this, that they were actually using this almost as a calendar, where each of these different stones demarcates like a different crop or a different thing to do with farming. So Lionel was just telling me that the way that this works is you stand in front of one of the stones. These are the outer ring stones, and on the inner ring here they have the sort of main stone, and basically you look where the sun comes up. So right now that is east, and in the month that we're at, that's where the sun comes up, goes over us and behind us, and from there you can tell exactly what crop to plant, or they use it as almost like a farming calendar. And as you can imagine, as the seasons change and you get to different points, you can actually measure different things in the farming calendar. So I just want to mention that that's not actually what this thing was built for. We don't actually know what this was built for, but it was actually used as like a calendar for farming and stuff like that. Now another interesting thing is that if you look behind me here, this is supposed to be a megalithic circle, but it's actually in the shape of a square. It's not even a perfect square. And Lionel was just telling me that the reason for that is it used to be a circle, but the farmer that owned this land basically moved all of the stones into a square shape, and he actually used this for keeping animals inside. So it's quite a tragedy really, because they lost the original placement of the stones. And as you can see here, we've got some stones that have been hollowed out for animals to eat out of and for animals to drink out of. So yeah, that's pretty fascinating. I'm glad I saw this place. All right, so we are on the cow farm now, and I can actually see a couple of the cows right there. Okay, so the cows are here. We have to be very calm and relaxed because the cows are actually pregnant, and so we need to be very calm as to not scare them. Hello cows. Wow, look at these. So he's got some food over here, and we're going to feed some cows. So what you're looking at here is you're looking at Akaushi or Red Wagyu cows. These are very, very premium cattle, and they're digging into all of this food over here. Okay, so the reason why he's brought this food out, these are almost like treats for cows. And what he's doing here is he's getting the cows familiar with him. So he puts down these treats. He comes like every single day, and the cows get used to the fact that when he comes here and he makes certain noises, that he's going to be feeding them and giving them these treats. And also so that they're nice and calm and relaxed around him, and they get to know who he is. Now the reason why they're called Red Wagyu is because they've got this sort of brownish red coloration. You get two different types of Wagyu outside of Japan. You get Black Wagyu and you get Red Wagyu. And the Red Wagyu make up about 10% of the sort of Wagyu beef that you can find outside of Japan. The most popular one is Black Wagyu. Now these in the background here are the only Red Wagyu that you'll find in the whole of Europe. So they're quite special. Lionel is just showing me that they actually feed the cattle a lot of these acorns here. And the acorns actually give flavor to the meat. If you look around this farm, there's a lot of cork oak trees. And so they're picking these up off the ground and they're eating loads of them. Wagyu is basically a Japanese word, and it's broken down into wa, which basically means Japanese, and gyu, which means cow. So these are Japanese cows. The reason why they're special is because they have a very unique flavor, they're very tender, and they have a lot of marbling in the meat. The reason for all of this is because they're a very old breed of cow that were used back in the days for agricultural use. So they were very big, strong cows with very big muscles. They've got very big frames, and for all of that muscle, the muscles need energy, and that's why they have lots of fat interspersed or interlaced between the muscle tissue. So we've got a cow here that's basically predisposed to have very marbled meat, very flavorful meat, very tender meat, and well, it's known as some of the best meat in the world. Wagyu beef is known as being one of the healthiest red meats because it's full of omega-6 and omega-3. Now these are essential fatty acids that are great at regulating your blood pressure and also reducing inflammation. So it's an incredibly healthy red meat. So this farm is actually a huge farm. It's actually a couple of thousand hectares, but the part that they're using for the actual cows is 170. So these cows have got a huge amount of land. Now, generally speaking, cows need around 1 hectare per cow in order for them to have enough food to eat, enough grass and stuff like that. Now, there's a slight difference when you're growing Wagyu beef, is you actually don't want the cows to be that active. You want them to develop as much sort of fat in the tissue as possible. The more active they are, the more they walk around, the more they're going to burn through that fat. And here we have one of the farm workers, one of the farm workers hard at work.
I do my best. I do my best.
Exactly, yeah. So right now we're looking at some of the hay bales. This is some of the food for the cows. And Lionel was just telling me that this is trigo. Trigo is basically what they use in the wintertime. It's very important for the cows. Now, they were saying that 1 year ago, you could buy one of these big hay bales for 15 euros. The price right now for one of these is 90. Now, you can imagine how quickly a cow is going to burn through one of these bales. There's a lot of money that has to go into growing these animals to full size before they reach the table. So with a regular cow, it takes about a year from when it's born to when it gets slaughtered. With one of these Wagyu cows, in order for it to develop all of the fat inside of the tissue and all of that marbling that you know from Wagyu, it takes them 4 years. Now you can imagine at the moment, with the cost of food going up and the fact that this is a very premium type of beef, it's very expensive to actually produce these. All right, so one of the things that we said in the very beginning is that this is a very ecological farm. They don't have any electricity coming from outside. They actually generate their own electricity. And over here we have what they call a furo, which is a borehole. We've got some electrical panels, or solar panels, and a solar pump. And so all of the water that gets taken out of the ground here is basically coming from solar out of the ground and into here for the cows to drink.
Come on!
So earlier on I was telling you about the hay. Now this is one giant block, okay? This costs 90 euros now. It used to cost 15 euros. Now these cows, in this part of the farm, we have 16 of these Akaushi cows. There are more on other areas of the farm, but just these 16 eat 2 of these per day. And they're 90 euros each now. And then you think to yourself that they've got to grow these for 4 years. So there's a lot of money that goes into raising these cows. Lionel was telling me that these cows are all pregnant, and in about 2 weeks they're going to start to give birth. Now, as you can imagine, these are very expensive cows with very valuable babies inside of them. So they need to make sure that they're ready for when these cows are about to give birth, so that there's no complications and no problems. Lionel comes here and spends a lot of time with these cows every single day. He knows every single one of them, and he's also carefully watching and monitoring and making sure that he knows what's going on with all of their pregnancies. Now, one of the partnerships that they have for breeding these animals and also for growing these animals up and delivering the births and things is with the University of Castelo Branco. Now, the university have got special technology that they're using that they actually attach to the cows that measures the cow's cervix. Now, they do that in about a week just before the birth. And what it does, it actually has like a SIM card inside. It actually sends a notification to your mobile phone and lets the vet know that these cows are about to give birth. Now, that's for external people working with the cows. That's for people that actually don't know the animals. Obviously, it's a different story for Lionel, because he's watching these animals every single day and he knows exactly what's going on. But as you can imagine, when you've got a lot of animals, when you've got a lot of cows that are pregnant and they're all maybe giving birth at the same time, you also need the help of external people and vets and things like that, just in case there's any complications with the birth. So we're back in the car now. We're actually got to drive to another section. What you've seen right now are 16 pregnant cows. In total, the herd is 90 cows at this stage, spread over a very, very large farm. And so now we're going to be driving to another part of the farm. Okay, so we've just arrived now on the other side of the farm. We've had to drive all the way around, and we're going to get to see a little bit more. Now, one of the things I didn't actually mention was earlier on when I was talking about them feeding hay bales to the cows, is that the only reason why they're doing that right now is because Portugal came out of a drought, it came out of heat waves. We had one of the hottest summers on record, and so the grass that we have at the moment isn't that great, and that's why they have to supplement. But normally, on a farm like this, they will obviously have enough grass. You won't be supplementing their feed. Is this why we didn't take the BMW? So in the distance here is the Alqueva, and we're about to go down there and meet some of the cows that are basically grazing right next to the dam. So we're about to see the rest of the herd. We're also going to meet one of Lionel's cowboys, one of the guys that basically looks after the cows. I don't know the exact dimensions, but I know that Lionel's farm is somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 hectares in total. It's absolutely massive, and it's bordering this absolutely stunning lake. What an amazing farm. Olá, boa tarde.
Olá, como está? Boa tarde.
Tudo bem? Tudo.
Obrigado.
He's a cowboy, a Portuguese cowboy.
Português cowboy.
Yeah. And here we have them. So we can see we've got the red Akaushi. We have one that looks like a Friesland. And the black, the preto is
It's
mistura. So you can see in the background here that not all of these cows are red, as you'd imagine for, red Wagyu. And the reason for that is because they've been mixed with different breeds. So we've got one in the background there that is looks like a Friesland cow, and that's because it has actually been bred with a Friesland cow. So it's a Wagyu cow, but it's got the colorations of a Friesland. And we can see that there's a couple of black ones in there that are mixed with Angus. So what they like to do is, you try mixing them with different breeds to bring out different qualities in the meat. So Orlando, tell us a little bit about Wagyu World, which is the company that you guys have started.
Yeah, look, we started back in 2017 with just an idea with three crazy guys
Okay.
that wants to produce the best beef in the world, but produced in Portugal, okay? And we start from the genetic. We bring in from Florida,
Okay.
12 embryos.
And that is like embryos that have been inseminated with...
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, and we take it in Castelo Branco, in the university.
Okay.
And after that, we start to breed here in the Alentejo.
Okay.
And from the very beginning, our goal, our three commitments with our customers and our main goals for the company is, first of all, the quality of the beef.
Yeah.
Because we want to reach the most interesting level of BMS, beef marbling score.
Okay.
From 0 to 12. Okay. Now we have a 7.
A 7.
Some cuts, an 8. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's our first animals because we spent 4 years. Okay.
4 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And first of all, the quality of the beef. But with the same importance, we have the animal wealth care.
Okay.
Because we really take care of the animals. We have 4 vets working with us with 4 different specialities.
Okay.
For us to give the most care, the most important care and lovely care with the animals.
Yeah.
Because we really, we know that it's for heat,
Yeah.
but within the process, we have to take really care of the animals.
Well, they're very expensive
Yeah.
animals as well.
Yeah,
It's very
yeah.
expensive meat.
For sure.
And you need to make sure that they're happy and that they've got everything that they need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And last but not the least, we are a serious committed with the environment. And as we look in the video, we have all of the business, the production,
Yeah.
made by ourselves. We don't need energy for anyone.
Yeah.
We produce everything that we need.
I've been
And-
seeing that as we were filming the vlog. I've been noticing how, that you've got a very low impact here.
Yeah. This is the goal actually. And look, for us is interesting to produce a very good beef with these 3 standards because we don't abdicate that, and we think back in 2017
Yeah.
that is possible. And look, Lionel is a very important guy on that. All the business that we have from the lab to the fork is just because we have people like Lionel that
Exactly.
invest money, time, effort.
Yeah.
It stole time for the family to bring to
Exactly.
the animals because if it doesn't, it's impossible to do. Okay.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is an amazing setup that you have here. It's the most beautiful farm, and I can't believe it. I feel very privileged, and I want to say thank you for allowing me to come here and to see this.
No, it's our
been
privilege
fantastic.
to have you
Yeah.
and show to the rest of the... Look, we have a very good, interesting story. Yeah, we are absolutely right on that. We invest a lot on that, on this business, because we really and truly believe that it will be the future. I personally believe that we will hit less beef than probably we hit on the decades before.
But a higher quality.
But higher quality.
Exactly.
Okay?
And healthier.
Yeah, and wealthy. And
Yeah.
somewhere, I don't know, upon the future, but the customers, the people that want to taste a really good beef, have opportunity to taste it breeding in Portugal
Okay.
with high standards for quality, for environment and wealth care.
Yeah.
It's for us, it's a proud for us, because none of us have zero idea how to breed an animal, a chicken as well. Okay.
Yeah.
And
so Lionel has brought all of these qualities. Yeah.
yeah, and we have learned a lot, tons and tons of knowledge. We are searching for knowledge, because no one in Portugal breed these Akaushis.
Yes.
Okay,
And no one in Europe.
Yeah, in Europe as well, because we are the first ones with the Akaushi, stands for red. Okay?
Yes.
And it's very challenging, because when we start talk about the nutrition guys, for instance, like, okay, it seems interesting. Yeah, but I never done it before. Okay.
Exactly.
And we have to do some researches on our own.
Yes.
And test, and okay, let's evaluate the result. But in this kind of business, the most challenging thing is that you have to wait 4 years to have results.
Exactly.
And to take decisions to switch something. You have to, because
if something's gone wrong, you've got to wait another 4 years to see the results.
4 years.
And
because of that, we have to learn a lot and try to don't do mistakes. Because if you do too many mistakes, it's a very expensive invoice.
Very expensive mistakes, yeah. Great. Well, this is only one part of the story, because there's other parts of the story that we're going to be showing all of our viewers. The other part, which we're going to get to, well, we can't do it today because the sun's going down, is going to be at the university.
Yeah, okay. We will go at the university for you to understand from the first beginning and what we are done from 2017.
From the embryos,
from the embryos
to the artificial, like impregnation, or I'm not sure what they call it, when they take the embryo, and then obviously to bringing the cows that are born, bringing them to the farm here, and then breeding and crossbreeding those cows. So
it's very interesting.
Excellent. Well, I can't wait to see it.
Okay, see you guys.
Ciao. So make sure that you tune in next week, same time, for part 2, where we've got a whole bunch more.